Welcome to the Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan, and I just got to give a quick disclaimer for this right here. The internet's been acting kind of weird last 2 days and just been kind of cutting out for whatever reason. So at some point, we just end up with a 20-minute episode or even like a 5-minute episode. You know why.
If it's 5 minutes, I don't even know if I'd put it up for 5 minutes.
Well, gosh, we've only missed 1 week, and it was because of internet trouble. So I imagine like, well, at least we can't say we missed a week if I put up 5 minutes. So
I guess that is true when you say it like that. And that 1 week we did miss, I feel like we didn't miss it because we put up like 3 episodes in like the week and a half prior.
Yeah, like we knew it was coming. Like, something's gonna happen, so might as well just get like a couple extra this week. Something bad's gonna happen next week. I don't know what, but something.
There was something from the future that was telling us what to do. Some like higher power, like Thor.
You had that vision
Clint
too?
Eastwood.
Shit. Oh yeah, it would be Clint Eastwood. It was like Clint Eastwood or Bruce Springsteen, maybe Batman.
And Bruce Springsteen, he came to my dreams like he was sliding on his knees, going, "Oh, Spencer, listen up, man. There's gonna be a problem in the future of your internet, so you gotta record three podcasts." And I was like, "Oh, okay, Mr. Bruce."
And then he slides backwards on his knees back into the abyss.
Yeah, that was the creepier part of the dream there.
Doing a solo on guitar while he does like he reverses backwards.
Dude, I found this really sweet podcast the other day when I was looking for new podcasts. It was a podcast where Donatello from Ninja Turtles was talking to Spike Spiegel.
Really?
I kid you not.
Okay, first off, just in case, I happen to die in the next few minutes, what's the name of this podcast?
I want to say it's called Talking Tunes.
Talking Tunes.
Let me see. I'll just look at my podcast thingy. But no, yeah, it's Talking Tunes with Rob Paulson, and he was the voice of Donatello on not only the original Ninja Turtles, but I think he is on like the new Nickelodeon one and some of the others. But then he's been like in the Animaniacs, and then he's played in some video games, but then like a lot of other shows, whether he be a miscellaneous character number one or even sort of a main character. He's done a lot of voices.
Was he Wacko?
No, I want to say he was the main guy in Animaniacs.
Well, the guy that played Wacko literally walked down the Fisherman's Wharf the other day.
Did he?
Yep, walked right by. I didn't know that was him.
I can't remember what their names were because I haven't seen that show in a while. Who's the main guy? Who's the tall one with the pants?
I think. I want to say they all rhymed to an extent. It was like Mako, Wacko, and Dot. It was like Wacko and Dot. I don't remember the first one. Yakko, Wacko, and Dot. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, no, Yakko. I think that's who he played.
Yeah, the guy played Wacko literally walked down the Fisherman's Wharf the other day, and one of my coworkers pointed him out to me. I was like, "Are you serious? That's him?" Like, "Yep, that's him." So, and he went up and talked to him. I didn't really know. I mean, it was kind of like I'm sure that if I looked at when I went home and looked at his IMDb, I'm like, "Oh wow, I do know that guy's work." But at the moment, like, "Oh yeah, Animaniacs." I didn't really watch it as a kid. I knew of it, but I never really watched it.
Well, this guy, Donatello, I mean, his normal voice sounds like Donatello. And then he's got Steve Bloom on there. Apparently it's not Blum, it's Bloom. For my entire life, and for our entire life, we've been pronouncing it Bloom, because it fucking looks like Bloom on, like, the TV.
It does. And he even had other aliases when he was doing that, because if you look at other shows, his name wouldn't be up there. They did it for whatever reason, for like payment reasons, they'd have to credit themselves as other people sometimes. I don't really know why, but I heard that reason before.
Yeah, but I kid you not, you're sitting there listening to it on a podcast, but it just sounds like Donatello from the Ninja Turtles is fucking talking to Spike. But it's really it's like Fat Man on Batman, that style, but he gets just different voice actors in.
I'm gonna have to check that out. And it's called Talking Tunes. That's what it's called.
Huh.
All right. Well, definitely looking that one up.
Yeah, Talking Tunes without the G with Rob Paulson.
That's the reason it's not popping up. Okay.
Yeah, one letter off probably. But no, it's fantastic so far. I mean, I've only listened to about like 2 episodes, but Steve Bloom, I guess, is on there. There's like 2 episodes he's on there too, and then there's a bunch of other people.
Okay. That's definitely that's the next thing I'm checking out. I've been listening to a lot of Paint It Black lately because we've been advertising them. They've been advertising us a little bit, and their new episode was actually really funny. They just gave us a shout out on there, so check them out. They had a pretty funny conversation about like basically, like, you know, what's really popular right now is 50 Shades of Grey, because that movie just came out or whatever, and it's just got done with Valentine's Day. So they're talking about, like, I don't know, somehow they got on topic of like Muppets. They're like 50,
Muppets 50 Shades of Grey.
yeah, they're talking about that. They're talking about like Homer and Piggy being in an abusive relationship. Like, spit in my face,
Being
spit in my
Kermit.
yeah, yeah, Piggy. What did I say?
Homer.
Oh,
Homer the crossover.
I don't know where that.
Fucking Simpsons like Muppets.
You go somewhere on the internet, that's fucking there. I don't know where, but I'm sure it's there somewhere. But no, they had it was just like Kermit and Piggy, like Kermit, like spit in my face, spit in my face.
No, that was a really funny bit. But that was a great episode, anyways. That last one. But check out theirs. You know, Paint It Black. You can find it on Podbean, iTunes, and so on. Thought I'd give a little shout out there. At some point, we've been talking back and forth on email. He wants to do a crossover episode where we go on his show or they come on our show or something like that.
I'd love to do that. I'm listening to those guys. I'm afraid I'm gonna have trouble keeping up with them because those guys are so quick witted. But no, I'd love to do that.
Well, they do have 4 people though. That's the one thing though. Whenever there's those extra couple people, and we've said it ourselves, you know, by having just that third person, like the balancing in the podcasting really works well. That third person doesn't have to be the strongest member, but that balancing of like 3, and they got 4 going, give or take, on the episodes. So that does. I'm not gonna say, not like saying like bringing them down to our level really quickly, but you know, there's only 2 of us. You know, they're pumping out 4 people's voices at a time. We're just pumping out 2 mostly, and once in a blue moon we get somebody else on the show that happens to show up and goes like, I have a time in my schedule.
For a while we had like frequent like a third person, but then like just things just happen. You know, I think it's primarily I moved and. Since then, people don't want to get on Skype or whatever. So,
well, I know when you're doing a podcast live in the room, or I guess not really live, but like together, it's a lot easier to get people to come over. But then when the Skype ones are like, it's like a process. You got to set them up. You got to make sure everybody's all kind of in sync and whatnot.
When you said
first, I guess
when you said hang out and talk, I didn't know you meant like in front of a computer. This is kind of all right.
You know,
I drove 30 minutes.
I thought when you're in front of a computer, that was just for jerking off, looking at somebody else in chat roulette. I didn't know that you could like do a podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Something I did a little bit ago on a totally off topic thing. I actually went to a Sharks game a little bit ago. That's the reason why I'm recording this one a little later, probably get a little later in the week. And I'll say, like, I'm not really much of a sports guy. And I've been to like a few Sharks games when I was younger, when I lived in San Jose. But actually going to a game this day and age, at my age now, I totally understand, like, because, you know, there's some sports I just have trouble getting into. Hockey, totally makes sense. I totally understand why people keep up with hockey and why people love hockey so much.
See, I get hockey. Hockey is the one sport that totally makes sense to me. And I think this is what I like about it. It's fast-paced. It's not nearly as long as other sports. And to top it off, you get a second sport in it when people start fighting.
Somebody's getting fucked up every 5 seconds in that sport. And that's what's fucking awesome about it. Because the thing about football, it's just like, yeah, if it was just like an hour and a half, that'd be fine. But the fact is, it's stretched out to 3 hours with all the fucking ads. And on top of that, it's just kind of like, let's go. All right, restart. Let's go. Let's restart. And don't get me wrong. I can enjoy a good football game. I could enjoy a good football game. But like South Park really nailed it on the head with Sarcastable. With all the, well, you can't rush into him too hard, and you gotta hug him and say you're sorry and tell him you respect him, you know? And then like hockey, there's just like swinging elbows, the refs were letting it go, people were just getting fucked up the whole time. Sharks lost like 2-4 or something, but I wasn't mad just because I had so much fun doing it. And no point, because I've been to Giants games before, and at some point, I've been pulling out my phone and just kind of scrolling for a minute. Not once at all did I do that during the Sharks game.
It doesn't even cross your mind.
It doesn't. No, the thing, it's always going. That pucks are always going everywhere. Somebody's always getting punched in the fucking face. Yeah. So I just might become a big hockey buff. I totally get why people like hockey.
I know. For me, it's like that's the one sport that I actually can kind of get into, other than wrestling. Pro wrestling, of course, not regular wrestling. That's kind of boring. But that amateur wrestling, no. Just watching 2 guys kind of like grab each other from behind the whole time and then wrestle and then roll around the ground. I'm not really into that. But you know, get some chairs in there, some high fly-ins, you know, and characters. I
love the WWE like South Park episode where they're basically treating it like Shakespeare, and like Vince McMahon comes out with the tiny little like classy like binoculars looking down on the stage. It's reached the point where they're not even wrestling anymore; they're just sitting up on stage or reciting monologues. You know, the rednecks like, this is so deep. Oh my God. It just ends with them just like clashing into each other. Like, oh, this is just gay. And they're walking away.
No, yeah, I like that one a lot. But that is kind of like how it is, since you get the acting and the story in there, that almost just tops it off. If I'll say this, if baseball or football had maybe some story and some more characters involved in it, that might drag me in. I think just being a movie buff, I kind of need that.
No, I understand. I know what you mean. But you just went away. Did you kill the video or the internet just die?
Nah, cut your video. You're coming in kind of staticky.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna just kill my video too. It's just being enthralling for the listeners to hear. Turn off video. All right. Anyway, though, beyond that, though, yeah, I just went to the game, and it's kind of too bad they lost, but whatever. It was a fun time. Went with my friend Shonda, and she's a good friend of mine. I haven't like seen her in a while, and she said like, you have a podcast? I forgot you had a podcast, and she said she listened to her. So yep, there's your shout out, Shonda. Hello, But anyway,
I guess most people assume like when you start something that you never finish it. And I don't mean that bad way, but we all know everybody has these hopes and dreams, and a lot of times they don't go anywhere. That's like the sad reality of life, is that they just kind of collapse, and that's it. So whenever you kind of go like, hey, I've been doing this podcast for 3 years, people go, whoa. You stuck with it, I'm just so used to people failing.
It wasn't it wasn't like the Karate Gi and the acoustic guitar. You actually stuck with it. That's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah, those things that like now become like part of the closet, like literally start to form in.
You just look at it like one day maybe, but then you slowly close the door on it. Just maybe one day. But the
shame closet of like all those hopes and dreams that are never achieved. So you just kind of have this idea that maybe someday, maybe I will. Let's get a place to lock it away. Just put it in there. I guess I don't really have a shame closet myself. I guess I got more of like, there's just a bunch of action figures in my closet. I don't know what that means.
You have an action figure closet. I got like, I don't know if you call it a shame closet. I have potential to have a shame. I have potential to have a shame closet, but everything gets more or less stolen or something happens to it in the process. Like I did have a guitar. I wasn't very good at it, but then at some point what ended up happening was my house got robbed and that got stolen. So it kind of gave me no reason to ever go back and try and pick it up again. And from there, I also had the Karate Gi. I did karate not karate. I did Taekwondo for like 10 years. But then like I moved and first I did for like 5 years. Then I went and it was a different type of Taekwondo. So restarted. And then from there, it was just kind of like, this is really fucking expensive. Oh, fuck it. I'm done.
Yeah, like I always wished, I guess martial arts would be something that I definitely put in the closet because, in the good old 90s, like everybody did martial arts. There was no way you didn't. We had Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles. So martial arts became kind of a way of life in the 90s. But just like, I don't know, as a kid, I still kind of had that thing where it's like, I didn't really like going out and being part of these groups and stuff. Like I was also in Boy Scouts, but I just never felt like it was something I was totally into. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Boy Scouts, and I did learn some cool things there, but I just don't have that camaraderie kind of thing. Wrong with it. Let's do this together, team.
It still has that, and like it still has an unbelievable amount of homophobia. Like if you're gay, you can't join. So it still has that little problem to it. But beyond that, though,
yeah. But I'll say this: that didn't really like come across in like the one I was at. Maybe like when you're a kid, you just don't notice that. But. So even though it's kind of like the gayest thing, maybe they've
changed the rule for that now.
I always love how like the things that are the most homophobic, like clubs or whatnot, are always just like, well, what is it about? Oh, it's just a bunch of men and boys that go out in the woods and camp. Is there any women there? No, not at all.
Well, it's always on top of that. Whenever it's kind of like I'm pretty sure the guys running it are like these old timey Republicans that they just kind of like bottle up, just be a man. Oh, any thought that seems impure, you just bottle it up and keep it in a box and never unleash it. Otherwise, you're a fag. I feel
song. I said they got that song from Mulan playing in the background, like "Be a man, you must be stronger and quick as a baby."
No. Like I got the words. Must be swift. No, wait. Be a man. Da. 1 second. I'm not sure if you can hear that. My heater is going crazy. It might explode. So. Yeah.
Is that what that is? I thought you were like clapping or something along to the beat.
No,
but, like,
what
kind
happens?
Off time.
No, right now we got a fucked up. Like water heater.
Monster?
Yeah, we got a heater. We got something downstairs. I don't know. And it's just outdated. The thing's not fixed. My landlord's a fucking cocksucker. He hasn't got around to fixing this thing. It's been doing this. So like this thing, what you hear now Imagine that at 4 o'clock in the morning, just blam blam blam, just pipes banging and clanging around.
Just like, feed me right, feed me all night long.
Yeah. I got a whatchamacallit. You hear that? I'm gonna put it a little closer. Here we go.
I can hear it from there. I think everybody can hear that.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to move it any closer.
Basically,
it's already loud enough.
Yeah, I got a Jim Henson like heater thing downstairs, just like someone feed me, you know. But no,
Are you afraid it's gonna turn out to be like in The Shining with like the boiler and it's gonna explode at some point? And fucking hopefully Scatman Crothers comes to save you.
That crossed my mind, but then like, well, Scatman Crothers is dead, so I'm fucked.
Well, maybe he'll come back from beyond the grave. I mean, fuck, you got a heater monster there.
We did give a beautiful homage to him in the newest Drunk Batman episode, so who knows, maybe.
No, yeah, we really brought back Scatman because nobody really knows who he is anymore.
I went down there one day and it was like I almost got I haven't had this since I was a child, because you know when you're a child, like, don't go down to the creepy alleyway because there might be like monsters or murder or whatever. But there was one night where it was like really late. It was like not super late, but like maybe like 11:30 or so, and it was doing it really bad. I'm just gonna see what this fucking thing is. And I went down, and you know it's a little narrow hallway down like between the buildings, and I was going down there, and there is this door, just this white door with chains over it, like multiple chains crossing the door, all locked like one big like cluster of locks. And I could just hear things boom boom boom, and I could even hear it feeling like slamming against the door. It's just like, you know, I just want, you know, it's probably just a heater, but still I probably don't need to go any further, you know. This is how horror films start.
You know, when you're a kid, you're scared of like, there might be a monster behind the door. When you get older, you're like, there might be a rapist behind the door.
Yeah, I really wasn't worried about that. Yeah, it's just the maintenance man. He's locked in there.
He's just like, help me, somebody help me. The heater monster's gonna get me.
Exactly. And for some reason, he's played by Jimmy Stewart.
And he's like, boy, kick the chains out. You're like, oh, I've seen that happen in a movie. I don't think I can do that in real life. Exactly. Boy, you have to do it. The heater monster, He's getting angry about the second.
I let him out, that I suddenly get 3 wishes, but they all go bad.
Because the heater monster is actually this old man.
Yeah.
It sounds like Jimmy Stewart.
You released me, you stupid fucking prick. Now the world is mine. Yeah.
No. This is what happens. Once you use your 3 wishes, you get stuck with the heater monster now, and now you're the guy behind the door.
Oh man, this shit just got like 1800s like macabre horror, like British horror story right now.
Those 3 wishes are like the greatest points of your life, but there's a cost to them.
No, there's one. What's the one?
You have to get stuck behind that door and be stuck with the heater monster. Whatever this heater monster is.
What's the one where basically, I mean, it's like it's something to that same effect. It's probably the original one, where I want to say it was a Spaniard guy, and he ended up like getting he met the devil, made 3 wishes, but every wish he made went wrong.
Are you thinking about Bedazzled, but the original version?
The original version. Bedazzeled's the funny, sexy version. I want to say there's more than 3 wishes in Bedazzled. There's like, yeah, there's basically that's the core concept though, where...
Well, there's actually an original Bedazzled in like the 60s too.
Well, I want to say there's one where it was like set like in the 1800s. It's probably what Bedazzled and the original one were, not the original, Bedazzled and the other movie were pulling from. But yeah, it was like basically dude makes a wish, and every true wish basically, it's like you got what you wanted, but in some way it made things worse, another aspect of your life. And then he dies at the end, but he goes to heaven with the girl whose life he basically ruined by getting with, you know? So.
Well, that seemed to work out kind of decently.
Broke out even, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they always do that whenever they give kind of wishes. It's just like there's like almost like the genie's a little bit twisted to the sense, or whoever's giving the wishes, I guess, or the devil. That like they give it to you, but they just do a little twist on it.
Want to know like a version I actually saw as a kid and actually surprised me they did this?
Was that Alec Baldwin movie?
No, Wishbone.
They had one in Wishbone. I probably remember this.
They would actually do. Yeah, they actually had one in Wishbone. I want to say it may have been British, but I want to say it was like a Spaniard-esque vibe. And for those kids, those of you who don't know what Wishbone is, Wishbone. I think back, it's like such a simple concept for a show. Basically, there was this little suburb, and in the suburb there was this dog. And the dog
When
talked, but it was like Homer. It was like old school, like Homeward Bound type talk, and like his lips wouldn't move, all CG like. It was just they had a voiceover of this dog.
that's the way that God intended for dogs to
Yeah.
talk too. Movies. Fuck that CG
They
dog thing.
they
It ruined it for me.
they were telepaths. That was way cooler, wasn't it?
I think so.
So
Made
anyway,
more sense too. It seemed more like logical.
what ended up happening? Yeah, and just because I mean, I was never, I'm not, I wasn't the brightest kid. I wouldn't even say I'm the brightest adult. But for the longest time when I was a kid, I'm like, oh, dogs can talk to each other, They're just telepathic that way, you know. I just thought that like in one growl, like okay, that must be an entire like paragraph right there. So, because that's what Homeward Bound said. Why would Homeward Bound fucking lie to me? You know, it's Disney.
Exactly.
So, but no, there was like Wishbone was this show about like primarily this kid, his two friends, and then like their neighbor, and it would mainly focus on this one kid who had this dog, and the dog would just be kind of like the parent, the people would be having their own story, the humans would be, and then the dog would be just kind of like toddling along, basically talking to them with nobody talking back, which always seemed weird. Like, hey guys, what do you think about this? And no one's acknowledging or talking to the dog, and the dog is just going around there the whole time. And then like there'd be some parallel story in some way, or like it would parallel the actual story going on the show, and he'd go back to something from classic literature, and it would go
Yeah.
from like the time machine to what we just mentioned
Like
earlier.
Don Quixote,
Don
Joan of Arc,
They had Don Quixote, they had Joan of Arc, and
Tale of Two Cities. I mean, there was a bunch of them. I used to watch it all the time. I really liked it a lot. I still have like a couple Wishbone like action figures and stuffed animals and stuff at my house.
I loved that show when I was a kid. And they even had one. There was one. What was it? There was one. Shit. What was it? There is. There's one that was like, really? You did that one? There was. Shit. They had like a Romeo and Juliet. So like the dog. So they would even have stories where the dog ended up dying. I mean, they wouldn't make it all violent and brutal. Like he wouldn't be stabbing him. Like it wouldn't be a little like dog with like puppet arms stabbing himself in the chest a bunch of times or nothing like that. But I was like,
Well, the weird thing is that Wishbone was always the main character mostly. So
Yeah.
he was like Don Quixote in the story. I almost want to say he was Joan of Arc, even though he was a male dog. I'm not too sure how that worked out.
I remember that one. Joan of Arc was there. He was just like the secondary character for that, saying, "Joan, don't do this." Like I'm so like think back. They're having these incredibly dramatic scenes with a dog standing there in a little like Spaniard outfit or whatever.
Yeah, because that's all. Like the charm of the show is that they dress the dog up in a different costume each episode.
Which
So you put some little bit of armor on him and a hat, and give him like a sword that he can drag around.
and they would even do something. They even had. I remember they had going back to like a few months ago. They even had one on the Odyssey. So I remember
Yeah.
there's an episode where when he gets back after like everybody dying and all that, he gets back home. And he like, well, prove you're actually like Odysseus or whatever. Like fire this bow and arrow. They brought up little like puppet dog arms and pulled a stupid little plastic arrow back.
I wonder if I can't remember the Odyssey one. Does he come home and see his dog, but maybe the dog's a man instead? Just like my dog waited for me. It's just a man like crawling on the ground like a dog, and then like he pets him and has one last moment, and then he finally passes away.
They
like,
didn't hit that.
saddest-
They didn't hit the heavy shit. They might say
No,
like,
no.
They would never do that. I don't think that one was there because I watched this show a lot. They would never hit that. They might have.
And it wasn't like they had all like Odysseus is like fling bangs and whatnot, where he's just like the dog just banging different people for like a montage.
They don't have him. At some point, he does go to the little like harem, like fantasy island, but he's just like, oh, what they do? Oh, they just scratch his ears the whole time. They scratched his ears for 30 years. He was fine with that.
Yeah, he was really happy about the ear scratch part, or the part where they go to the island full of flowers and everybody gets all like pretty much like opiumed out.
Yeah.
And just like, yeah, I don't want to leave this place. And then Odysseus goes like, oh, you fucking idiots, and drags them all back in the ship. Really, Odysseus does so much fucking work for these people that are so ungrateful.
Yeah. Well, I think it just shows kind of like you just get what you pay for. I think
Odysseus is more like, it's just like this guy he's like the man who can do everything right and really tries to do everything right, but he's screwed over by the people around him. It's just like the story of some guy he just really wants to, enjoy life, but everybody around him is a fucking douche and ends up screwing him over some way, somehow.
like
And even the guys that he thinks he can trust will still get him kind of fucked over in the long run.
yo, Odie, we'll get to it, man. There's no need to rush.
Yeah. It's just what we
I told you, don't call me Odie. Just call me my full name, Odysseus. Odie, come on, man. Don't call me
Come on,
that's
man.
my fucking name. fucking told you to stop calling me that fucking shit. I'll stab you in the fucking heart and throw you over if you do that fucking again.
All I want to do
just like, man, you're just way too intense, bro. You just really got to hit some more of this opium, and it's chill, man. It's chill. What happened to Bill? Oh, look, they're serving a pig.
This is like, I just want to get home and see my wife, my son, and my fucking dog. Is that all? That's all I'm fucking asking for. It's all I'm asking for, damn it. Damn you. Just yelling at the gods.
And Zeus is all like, Zeus is getting blown by some, like, I don't know, just some fucking maiden he picked up down from below. It's just, oh, he just said, damn you. I'm going to fuck this guy's life up. It's like, well, he did all this shit in your name, and he was working really hard, and you're just kind of turning a blind shoulder. He could have said worse. He could have said fuck you. He just said damn you. I don't give a shit. Fuck that guy. I'm like fucking Atlantis. Go like make a fucking storm for that fucker.
You Poseidon,
whatever. Yeah, he ran
Poseidon
Atlantis,
he really,
right? He ran Atlantis.
He ended up really like pissing off Poseidon because he like stabbed his like bastard retarded child in the eye.
I thought that was Zeus. That was Zeus's guy.
No, it's Poseidon. That's why everything, like, since they're on the ocean, that's why he's getting so fucked over.
Oh, that's like one of those things, like you're on your way to meet your girlfriend's parents. Some asshole like cuts you off, you flip him off, call him a cocksucker. Then you get there, you're like, oh, that's the guy.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a similar situation. Like, yeah, I just gotta get home. I have to beat the fuck out of this guy. Like, oh shit, this guy owns the road to the way there.
Well, it's like, this is the sad part about the Odyssey, is like every single time that like it almost shows like, that point in life when you just feel like you should say something, almost like that thing when somebody cuts you off, you just feel like I should just flip them off. The Odyssey is almost a story of like, no, just don't do that last part. This sucks, but just hold on to it, because that guy right there might get out and try to start a fight with you. Perfect example is he's in there with the Cyclops. He ends up stabbing in the eye, has this whole tactic on how to do it. He gets outside, and then he just starts saying, like, you know who did this? Who blinded him? Odysseus!
Oh, dang! Like, he's like making like motions towards his dick.
Oh, dude! And just by saying that, like, and kind of like pissing in the water where Poseidon lives at the same time, that right there, maybe if he just kind of like kept it quiet, like, just blinded the Cyclops, don't tell anybody about it. No, just by getting a little bit excited, be kind of proud of your achievements. You outsmarted the Cyclops, who ate like 3 of your dudes already, stepped on a couple others.
Well, if you think about it, because you watch the movie or you read the book, that probably seems like, oh, that was like day 2 on the way back home. Probably for them, that was probably, because the way how it stretches out, that was probably like maybe a month of probably being stuck in that cave and avoiding death from that Cyclops or whatever. So by the time he gets out, like, no, I've been fucking waiting for this, man. Don't take this from me,
Yeah. Well, that's the part where, like, I think that one's still short, because even in the book, it's just almost like they're there for the night. Like, they find this cave and they're like, dude, check it out. There's wine and food and all kinds of stuff. And they're just all like, been on the ocean for a while. So it's just like, fucking hey, let's just eat it all. And then
why does it take like 30? Oh, that's right. They get to the little like Siren Cove or whatever. And that takes another like 30 years or whatever the fuck.
Well, it's 20 years in all, because it took them, well, it's actually longer than that, because Troy was 10 years long, a 10-year-long war, and then for some reason the Odyssey, on the fucking trip home was also 10 years too. One of those ones where it's like, boy, you got there in like a week. How the fuck did it take you 10 years to get back?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think it's just, it's old storytelling. They probably, back then, they probably went with the original draft.
Well, yeah, and it's just like, there's just so many things that screwed them over, where you get stuck at certain islands, and people don't let them go anywhere, or
that's
once again, really, I just think it's one of those ones. If you just didn't have the fucking team, the crew, just said, fuck it, I'm gonna take this sailboat back on my own, I think you would have got there in fucking a week.
Odie's a lone wolf. Yep.
No, he just wants to be the good guy and help everybody else out. But you know what? The moral of that story is don't fucking take those guys with you. Be the fucking lone wolf and just go on that journey on your own.
Be the man with no name. Be the man with no name.
They're literally going to weigh you down. Yeah, Clint Eastwood had it fucking right.
He even like teamed up with people once in a while, but he would know when to like ditch them or leave them. And I think it's only get together with them when they know what the fuck they're doing. Lee Van Cleef, he knew what he was doing. Fistful of dollars, maybe for a few dollars more. So it's like okay. So we got two guys on the same page here. Tuco and is the Eli Wallach character in Good, Bad, the Ugly. The Ugly, he was like he was
He was
you
kind
could easily manipulate him. So he was still kind of like the lone wolf to an extent because he could easily manipulate this guy who had some skill to him, but it was more of just like I can use this guy.
well, really, like the Ugly's kind of that one. Like Clint Eastwood's character is pretty much just like, if he dies, or if I just miss the shot and don't happen to hit the rope and he ends up hanging himself, whatever. He's
Yeah.
expendable. I don't really care about this guy. I mean, it's probably if you flip a coin, it's either he lives or dies. I don't know. I can't really tell you which one's better.
He was just kind of a dick at one point because he's still like, I want to say he still had like his hands tied up and he just left him out in the desert. Like, yeah, well, I think I'm done with you. So go fuck yourself, you know? Just took right off.
Well, Clint Eastwood, like he kind of got like, then he got the same treatment because then he got left out in the desert.
Yeah, he did. That was just like some
So that kind of goes to show if you kind of dick around with some people that they might go and fuck you over in the desert later on.
What's the weird thing about that movie? That's still he's still basically the main character, the ugly in that movie, who is still he's not even really I wouldn't even say he's like a good guy. He is kind of a villain still, but he only seems like the more of the main character because we walk away knowing more about him than we do Clint Eastwood. And that's kind of the way all those movies go. Like the supporting character, we learn more about rather than the man with no name.
Yeah, literally, that's like the same way the second one is. Like Lee Van Cleef's almost kind of like the main character in that one too.
Clint Eastwood's just the one kind of pushing it all along. And I think that's kind of maybe what's cool about those movies, the fact that we don't really know a whole lot about him or even his name. And because yeah, like you just said, because right there we learn like, well, what's this dude's investment with it, this dude with this extended revolver thing. And then we find out that okay, well this Joker-esque like Mexican bandit guy. 'Cause he really does remind me of like a proto Heath Ledger kind of the way how he kind of acts. I mean, I'm sure he was probably pulling from something that even came before that, but the way how he acts in the movie, he really reminds me of kind of like the Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker, if he was like a Mexican bandit.
Huh? That's an interesting way to look at it.
Because if you look at him, he doesn't look like he's totally there. His head's kind of arched and clocked like sideways a lot. Like he's really smart. He's a couple steps ahead of everybody, but he's not exactly sure how he got there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, I see what you mean.
And he
Oh, that true. Or continue.
well, I was just gonna reaffirm what I was saying, but yeah, go ahead. You're gonna say
Out of that trilogy, which one's your favorite?
For a few dollars more. I know everyone
That,
goes for either Fistful of Dollars or Good, Bad, and the Ugly, but I gotta go for a few dollars more.
I agree too. I think that one's the one that's the best. That movie's just super smooth.
Mm-hmm. Because even
And
it's not even that like not the other ones feel bad or they're long.
oh no, all three of them are amazing, but that second one though.
Plus,
Maybe it's also too because since nobody ever talks about that second one, it kind of makes me like it just a little bit more. But I just think that like the story in it and the action and the pacing, it's just like perfect. I mean, if you could say maybe there's any like slight problem with Good, Bad, the Ugly, it's maybe a little bit long,
mm-hmm.
And then even the first one, like I like that one a lot too. And it's just that it's very simple. Like that, the concept in the first one's just like a great concept, but it is just simple. It's just
That is kind of weird when you think.
It's just Yojimbo or whatever.
Well, I think that's kind of what's cool about I'll say this. I think that number two has a cooler concept, and well, not number two. Number two, I think is a smoother movie, but Fistful of Dollars and Good, Bad, and the Ugly, I think those two both have just really cool concepts. That's easy to kind of plug. Like, I mean, you're maybe it fit good for westerns or samurai movies, like they inspired and pulled from and later remade, but. I think that like that concept of a dude walks into town and kind of secretly tears the town apart, just like very like covertly. I think that's a really cool concept, and we see that people pull from that a lot, and we even see like people pull from the Good, Bad, and the Ugly a lot. I just kind of like that concept. There is no real main character. I mean, there's a little bit of a main character, but it's more of just these three guys screwing each other over to get the same thing.
And they all intertwine.
Yeah, I think that like they all got their own story and they all like intertwine, and we don't really know. I mean, well, Clint Eastwood's gonna make it out, A, because he's Clint Eastwood. B, it's a prequel, but I don't think you realize it's a prequel until he gets the poncho at the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know what you mean there.
So right there, I think those are almost cooler concepts for movies than the second one. But I think the second one is ultimately just executed better. And I loved Lee Van Cleef's character, and I love the villain in that movie.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think the thing about the Good, Bad, and the Ugly, it's one of those story structures. Like, there's been some movies since then, like Faster and then also The Good, the Bad, and the Weird. They've taken that same kind of concept and went with it. But there hasn't been enough movies yet that like they've kind of like just desaturated that, you know, storytelling.
Well, I even heard like go ahead.
I was just say like, so, you know, you could still, there's still enough room for a couple more stories to use that concept and just keep going with it. Because as I said, you see it, but you just don't see it like everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because there's some stories where like, you know, you go to watch a new movie and you go, oh, seeing this, and by the time the movie's over, you're like, man, I totally saw that movie already. It's like, you know, there's good movies. Perfect example. I've said this one before on the podcast, but you know, Fast and the Furious 1 is literally Point Break. It's got the exact same beats in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah,
it is same movie. You know what I mean? Fucking Vin Diesel's Patrick Swayze, Paul Walker is Keanu Reeves, Lori Petty as I can't remember the girl's name, but you know,
Anthony Kiedis.
Vin Diesel's. Yeah,
I was joking. I was joking.
I don't know who Anthony Kiedis is. In fact, there's probably somebody, if you look hard enough, there'd be Anthony Kiedis.
Would he be like the white trash hillbilly guy that gets
Vince?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he would be. That'd be close enough. Well, no. If anything, the white.
He'd be the Japanese. He'd probably be the Japanese dude. He'd probably be because like Anthony Kiedis is just like a low-level thug trying to rob a store in that, isn't he?
Yeah, that'd probably be more it. Even though like
he'd be one of the Asian.
Still dudes. Sort of a. You know, like there's like the white trash guys that kind of like go listen to like Metallica or whatever. At least they got a Metallica poster in Point Break. The main leader of the Anthony Kiedis gang. That guy might be close to Vince, but other than that, though, I mean, that movie, you know, it hits the same beats pretty much. You know, he starts dating the girl. She doesn't know he's a cop. Then she figures out he's a cop. Then they start flipping out. He becomes really good buddies with Vin Diesel. He becomes very good buddies with Patrick Swayze. But he does not think whatsoever that this is the guy who's committing all the crimes because he just seems too cool and too nice and too smooth. He keeps thinking it's somebody else, and then he finally realizes as the story builds on, and they got this friendship going that no, this is the guy you gotta take down.
Oh my god, I just realized something. I'm not done watching it because it's like I think it's just a little over 2 hours maybe, but on Netflix, there's this CG anime called Captain Harlock. Uh-huh. And it was originally, I want to say it was originally like I don't know if it was a manga first, but there is like an 80s anime of it. And it's just basically kind of like space pirates, that kind of whole deal. I guess it's a big classic in Japan. I've never seen it before, but I know of it.
I've never seen it either. I don't think you even heard of it.
You maybe seen the image, just a guy dressed in dark. He had like a lot of dark clothing with a cape. He has an eye patch. Almost looks kind of like Castlevania-ish. Has like a standard skull and bones on his chest, and then kind of a duster cape and like eye patch, long wavy hair. Anyway, they I guess a year or two ago they came out with like a CG, like a feature length CG movie that's kind of like done that like Final Fantasy Advent Children style. I'm watching that.
That sounds cool.
Now I don't know. I never seen the original, but I'm watching this one. When you just said that, I realized this movie's a remake of Point Break because they just got like this new rookie crew member who's just starting to prove himself.
We're gonna take a quick break right here, but now a word from our buddies at Painted Black Podcast. Take a listen.
I'm Pete. That's Brian.
Yeah.
There's Lou. We are Painted Black Podcast. We are Painted Black Comics.
If you could describe the show, what would you describe it?
Horribly offensive.
Balls to the walls.
A good time.
I don't know. Unprofessional. I wouldn't be surprised if fucking Barney heard some screaming from next door.
Right. Hey, yo, Fred, I got kicked out of the house. Can I stay with you guys for a little bit? No, Barney. We're not friends like that.
You better go stay with the zoo.
Yeah. Dum-dum, you should have said yes to your wife. Can you imagine what Disney World would have been like had he lived longer?
No Jews. That's the primary difference.
I feel like he funded the Nazis in some way. I can't prove it.
The first fucking model of their helmet had ears on it.
Oh, the basket's here. It's coming over the hill. What the fuck's going on?
Dosan sounds like a Renaissance painter.
He was a fifth Ninja Turtle. He wasn't right in the head. They didn't really bring him out too much. I'd like to fight the foot.
That's probably why they had all those stupid ass toppings.
Bubble gum.
Fuck, who let those sounds order the pizza?
I want stink bug.
Who put Legos on this shit? Can I give you money for sex?
I would enjoy making a transaction for a blowjob.
Can I get a receipt with that pussy?
Oh, yeah. How do I follow this?
Do you wash those briefs with starch?
Make that booty clap. Why don't you?
Let's hear Randy Newman doing the song for Pompeii.
Oh, he's on the spot.
Whoa, did smoke. Volcano. Whoa, it's the smoke.
Like
Basically, Point Break was space pirates, which. But now, just to, in all honesty, though, I've seen Point Break, but it's been some years. I don't have it like logged into my memory like other movies do. But like I do with other movies. But it's been some time. But I think that whenever you see a movie like you go to, oh yeah, the Point Break thing.
Yeah, well, Point Break's one of my favorite ones. But you're saying this movie might be an '80s Japanese one, so it could be proto Point Blank or Point Break, not Point Blank.
I think this might be a reboot. It almost seems. I don't really know. I've never seen it, but almost the way this character seems, it almost seems kind of like this is maybe just I don't know, just because if you watch enough like movies and we've kind of come to the point where we've actually seen a lot of reboots and reimaginings. I could almost see this character because he is kind of like the one kind of younger character. I mean, it's anime, so everybody looks like under the age of 30. But I mean, he looks like the one like teenage-ish type character on the ship. Mm-hmm. So I can see them being like, let's young it up for the kids.
Yeah, I can see that because sometimes that's the target audience when it comes to animation, I guess.
That is entirely a guesstimation. There's no real solid theory backing that up. That's just a guess. Nothing beyond that. But yeah, somebody's gonna I know that sometimes I almost try and bait myself on here. Let's say like, yeah, I don't think fucking Silver Monkey was in Batman, just to say like he wasn't Batman, you fucking prick. Okay, all right. Cool.
Okay, there you go. Speaking of westerns, though, I got the third Django comic, the Django Zorro one that came out.
How's that going?
Oh man, it's fucking awesome. They explain his wife though. They explained what happened to her in this one. Somebody must have sent a letter in and just said like, "Yo, you guys ever gonna explain what the fuck happened there? Like, what's he doing? Like fucking out there, like just jerking it in like the desert."
So look, honey, I need some time myself for like a whole month.
They explained that Hilda, right?
Hilda, yeah.
Yeah. They explained that she's like, oh, she's up with some other family members. They're running this underground train system, getting blacks out of the South. Okay, but now I'm out here just kind of, being a man and making making a living, doing what I do best, bounty hunting.
There we go. So that's actually...
But it literally reminds me because he really just has this conversation of like some like random dude he's just talking to, like hanging outside while Zorro's inside, like doing his like work. He's just fucking smoking and just like hanging out with some guy, just being like, oh yeah, I got a wife, fucking back there, like, I don't know, doing some underground railroad thing. Fuck if I know, I'm out here bounty hunting.
Yeah.
Like,
well, he's funding it. That's
but it's kind of like, it just feels like it's just like somebody's just said like, fuck, you gotta fit that in issue 3. Quentin, why the fuck did you not explain that in the beginning? I don't know. I was waiting for it.
Didn't think people would care.
Yeah. Well, apparently that was the number one comment that came in. It was that people wanted to know what the fuck happened to his wife.
Well, at least she's doing that and she's not fucking dead or something like that. Because I don't like that when they have that. I mean, sometimes it can work, but I kind of hate that in the sequel when they just kill him, like, just right off the bat in the first 10 minutes. Or
they Johnny Cage him.
They Johnny Cage him, or even I still like this movie. They Salma Hayek him in Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Oh yeah, they just kind of kill him off right in the beginning, or kill her off in the beginning. But
watch her death scene though. You can't even take her death scene seriously though. I mean, it's more like, oh, that sucks, but it's not really sad because if you look when she falls down, when she gets shot up and she's holding the kid, look at the kid. The kid is laughing while they're getting shot up. Have you ever noticed that?
I don't know. I guess I haven't noticed that. Strange enough. Yeah. That's one of those movies I've actually really only seen that one like 4 times or so in my entire life, and I don't know exactly why I haven't seen it as much as, because I've seen Desperado like over 10, maybe 15 times, and I've seen El Mariachi like at least like 5 or 6 times, but I've only seen the third one, 3 or 4 times, like not that much, strangely enough. I don't know why.
I've seen that one a lot. When I first saw it, I really didn't like it that much. And I saw it again. I liked it. I know the story is a little, it's not perfect. It's a little convoluted. It is a little kind of like, because it goes from being just kind of like a simple, like, shoot 'em up set in Mexico to being like this big grand scale, like coup, like government conspiracy type thing. So, but it's still a fun movie,
Yeah, no. Like, I really like it. And I hope Robert Rodriguez does a 4th one at some point.
I hope he goes back to that because some of the other movies he's been making lately, I don't really care about him as much. I mean, it's not that he's bad, or it's not even that like his other movies were bad. It's just they just didn't really. I didn't think Machete Kills was as good as Machete 1, and On top of that, I also thought like Sin City 2, I guess it's just a sequel. Sin City 2, it wasn't even Sin City 2 was bad. It was just kind of like, it came out a little too late, and I don't really, I don't know, it felt, you every once in a while, there's one of those sequels that comes out, and you're like, I really should like it. And it's not that I dislike it, I do like it, but it comes out, you feel like you should, because it's more the same. And sometimes you just want more of the same. But for whatever reason, in this case, it just seemed a little too, I don't want to use this word but I guess a little lazy to some extent. You know what I mean?
Sin City 2 just felt like it didn't grab me. And I'm not going to, I enjoyed both Machete Kills and Sin City 2.
As did
but
I.
They weren't like, for Robert Rodriguez being like, he was the guy that really inspired me probably. Him and Kevin Smith inspired me a lot in filmmaking.
Same here.
And for the longest time, Robert Rodriguez movies were some of the ones I was looking the most forward to. And I'm not going to say these last two. I still look extremely forward to them. But they weren't like... Also, it wasn't just fucking Desperado 4 or whatever you want to call it, El Mariachi 4.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't, Machete 1, extremely good. And then, as I said, Sin City 1, I think Sin City 2 just a little too late. I don't know. Maybe we just kind of didn't care nearly as much by the time that finally came out, because maybe there's a point where I just kind of gave up on Sin City. I was like, they're never making Sin City 2. If somebody's gonna
by the time it came out, when you should have been excited, you were just more like, oh, it's coming out, you know?
Okay, I'll go see a new Robert Rodriguez movie. And
yeah,
and just I don't know. But I think if he made Desperado 4 or El Mariachi 4, whatever the hell you're gonna call that movie, that would just be it's perfect time to do it. We got Expendables and stuff with all these other old action stars. Well, hell, who was in Expendables 3? Antonio Banderas. Put him back in the El Mariachi slot. Fuck.
He was even in Machete Kills, so like he's still working. They're still friends apparently.
Yeah, so put him in there and just bring back that character, because that's the character that's our favorite character no matter who you are, for Antonio Banderas pretty much. That and Zorro.
Mm-hmm.
Tying back into Zorro, but
bring it all came full circle.
It all did. But yeah, just that would be the thing to do, is just make another one of those. I would just like to see it and just see where this character is now as he's older,
Mm-hmm.
And hell, it'd be really cool if they threw the original guy in there. Now, he died in the second one, right? The guy.
The original, the actor?
The original El Mariachi guy, the guy who's...
Carlos?
Yeah,
something?
Carlos. Yeah, him.
He
always plays little cameo parts.
He always finds a way to come back, because he played. I wonder how that conversation went down, because you look at him, he's not a very threatening guy. He did a fine job, but he's not a very threatening guy. He looks, hey guys, how's it going? He even came across that way in El Mariachi. So when Robert made the call, gave him the call, said like, hey, I got some good news and I got some bad news. Oh, what's that, Robert? Like,
we're gonna do the next one. I can't wait to be in Desperado.
Yeah, we're doing the next one, but that guy Antonio Banderas?
Oh yeah, is he gonna be the villain?
No, maybe to you.
Is he gonna be my partner?
Personal. You're his partner, just to put it lightly. I know that you were the main character last one, but this one, you're just gonna take a little bit of the back seat. You'll still be in it, and you'll still shoot a gun, but you're gonna blow up by the end. Bye.
Just sitting there like, so am I still the mariachi?
Oh yeah, that's right. He hung up on me.
Well,
you're a mariachi. You're not the mariachi. You're a mariachi.
This is just a fan of those movies. This I think would be really cool if there was just like a team up movie of both Antonio Banderas and Carlos, whatever his name is.
Well, he was there. It was.
But no. I mean, like, no, literally, like, not like he's just the background musician who gets to shoot a rocket out of his music case. Literally, he is like the second main character. I mean, he's there like the whole time.
So they do, like, I never saw it, but there's like Highlander 3. They took the main character from the show and the main character from the movie and threw them in there.
Exactly. That is exactly what I'm talking about. I think that's what they got to do.
Well, I guess what would be, he's just playing another character because
he's dead now, but that movie's already switched characters enough that like you can kind of go whatever.
People got confused about that, but I think people don't realize he's making a nod to the Fistful of Dollars and the Sergio Leone film series.
Yeah, where Lee Van Cleef plays like multiple characters. And
I want to say like the villain from Fistful of Dollars also plays a character somewhere in Fistful of Dollars in A Few Dollars More. So
I think you're right on that one too.
Yeah. So I think they're just trying to make a nod, and like Danny Trejo did that several times too. So I guess you can do that again. I'm all for it. I'd be down for seeing more of that because I really do like that series, and I don't think we get as many over the top shoot 'em ups like we used to. I think that's what's kind of cool about Arnold Schwarzenegger right now, and how how him and Stallone are kind of coming back and bringing back more 80s style shootouts. I know a lot of people are kind of like flicking their noses at that, but I'm glad they're coming out, you know?
Well, yeah, no matter what, even in the 80s, there was still a certain fan base for that. So some people just think that movies got to please everybody, and that's totally not true, especially this day and age. I mean, you pick your target audience, and that's all you need. You don't need more than that. If you happen to get more than that, then that's great, but I just feel like that's not necessary, and that's not even a goal.
Yeah, I think like niche films could really totally survive just on like a small crowd. Because for instance, like I watched Horns on Netflix. Have you seen Horns?
I don't even know what that is. Is that an anime?
Oh no, it's a horror fantasy kind of comedy drama. It's really good. I'll go over the story in a second. But basically, the movie had like 32 on Rotten Tomatoes. It was just beating the fuck up. It didn't do good in theaters. It got a very limited release.
That doesn't
I go on
mean it. Rotten
Netflix.
Tomatoes
I know, but
doesn't
I know.
mean much.
I know, but then I go on Netflix though. Movie has like 4.5 stars on Netflix, and I thought it was absolutely awesome. So that right there is a good like comparison to show that even if like a movie doesn't do good in theaters, it can still find its crowd and it can still find the proper group. You know what I mean? That's why I think, because even like, I don't know, Jupiter Ascending is not doing so good right now, but even Cloud Atlas, when that came out, people were hating on that movie. But just, it's only been a few years, like 2 years maybe, and that movie's already kind of like getting a lot of like, actually, you know what, that movie was kind of good now. You know, it's not like Matrix, but I mean, people are. That's gonna piss them off. That's what
it always comes back to. Fucking Matrix.
That's what the Wachowski siblings got to hear. It's not Matrix. Like, no fucking duh, it's not Matrix. We made that back in 1999, you know? So
Yeah, but just saying, I thought I should get that out.
It's not Matrix. Like, I know it's not Matrix. We're told that every day of our lives, you know, like they like that one of them makes their significant other some eggs. Like, how are those eggs? It's not Matrix. Like, fuck. I can't win, can I?
But no, yeah, it's like, yeah.
So
mostly movie reviews. I mean, they're always like I look at Amazon sometimes for like the reviews, because then you're getting them from regular people. You're not getting them from snobby film critics. Regular people, because you know you can take movies that like will get beat up in the reviews. You go on Amazon and people are like, dude, this is one of my favorite fucking movies. I love the hell out of it. Let me explain to you why. But then also too, I will say, if you go on Amazon and something does have like a lot of bad reviews, that mostly almost means there might be a reason why, because it's not going to have bad reviews for no reason at all. They're not snobby film critics. These are people that like either like this genre or series or what have you.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me tell you about Horns. I think you would like this movie. It's actually a book by, he changed his name. I don't even think Stephen King's real name? Is it something else?
No, Stephen King's real name is Stephen King. He has another name, Richard Bachman.
Well, I want to say that his son, who I don't think he went by the name King, I think his son went by a different name. His son wrote a book called Horns. And what it's about generally is, I don't really know how accurate it is to the book, but the movie's fantastic. What happens is Daniel Radcliffe plays the main character. He plays it's like out in some town out in Washington, like this little middle of nowhere town. And his girlfriend was murdered, and everybody assumes he did it. Everybody thinks he did it, and he's just kind of like he's like kind of waiting on trial, kind of waiting on everything's kind of up in the air. They're just kind of waiting to see what happens. We don't see any like him going to court or anything, but they're all just kind of waiting to see when he's going to court, if the evidence sticks, all that kind of stuff. And what happens in the process is he actually starts to one night he gets really drunk, he gets really pissed off. There's a little shrine to where she was murdered at, and he goes and he's just pissed off at God because she was religious and she died. And he's like, why wasn't he there for her? He pisses on like the shrine, kicks things around, stumbles away.
Just like, yeah, fuck this man, fucking Harry Potter.
Fucking Harry Potter. He didn't seem like Harry Potter to me. I knew he's Harry Potter, but at the same time, he didn't really feel like Harry Potter the whole time. All you gotta do is remove that British accent. It's just like, oh, that's not Harry Potter.
Now, this movie even go to like regular theaters? Because I don't remember it coming out.
It did go. I want to say it did go to theaters. It was just a very limited release.
Okay, well that's not regular.
It's actually directed. It's directed by the guy who did like the Hills Have Eyes remake, and I didn't see this one. But the first remake, I believe.
Okay, that's a fantastic movie. So that already gives me faith for the movie.
And then Piranha 3D, which I never really cared to see, but yeah. But the Hills Have Eyes, I want to say he did that, and It's entirely different vibe. It's an entirely different vibe, but still a good movie. And what ends up happening, there's almost the movie to an extent, almost even though there is like some like really dark, violent scenes in it and some heavy material, there almost is a little bit of a sense of innocence to it because it kind of it flashes back to their childhood and you kind of see where they got up to this point, which that seems very Stephen King-ish right there. Kind of like, the long buildup we have. So it's kind of, we got to know these characters as kids as we kind of flash back and forth to where they're at now, which kind of adds to a little bit of this like certain tragedy later down the line. But anyway, so after he gets drunk and like fucks around with like the shrine, goes back home.
Does he literally fuck the shrine?
No, he doesn't do that. He doesn't
get out there like, oh, shit, my dick in this. Yeah.
It's a southern accent, like fucking one of those like fucking like Mother Mary candles, yeah.
Just like, yeah, put me in Harry Potter 10 now, you fucking cunts.
Burn so good, yeah.
Suck my balls, Ron, you faggot.
They're like, Dan, that's not in the scripts.
It is now. Look at me, this is my real accent. I always wanted to be a southern boy.
He just has his hands up in the air with one of those fucking candles hanging from his fucking
He's like, it's like, oh, I think Daniel just tried.
This isn't part of the script, Dan. You gotta really.
Wait, it's like I thought Daniel would be worth, like I think he was really gonna sell this movie, but I didn't know he really wanted to try to break away from that Harry Potter character. That he's almost convinced himself that he's now some 45-year-old Southern man.
It was already weird enough when he was on stage naked with a horse, but now,
But now he brought the horse too, and he started fucking that just for our pleasure. That's what he said. It wasn't for his pleasure. He said he was actually disgusted with
ourselves. He said, "This is for you.
You'll know what to do with it.
This gets you off, right? Yeah. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it for you, you sick fucks." He's judging us while he's doing it. That's the weird thing. I don't know what the fuck's his problem.
Yeah, it's just like he won't let us get away. The second we try to walk away or turn around, he fucking carries that horse over, like not breaking eye contact, coming at us.
Even when he does that, so he planned ahead. He got here early, like strategically placed a bunch of mirrors everywhere so we see it wherever we turn.
Fuck, I looked up and there was a mirror, and it gave me the worst view of all.
The fucking weird thing is we were filming this in the fucking woods. How'd he get all this shit out here?
He must use magic. He uses Harry Potter magic to do it.
I knew it.
I knew he was a real fucking wizard.
That dark black magic sorcery from Harry Potter.
Okay.
Using the power of Satan.
Satan and a horse.
So yeah, horns was good.
So what happened after he fucked the statue but didn't fuck the statue and there was a horse?
So there is no statue, there is no horse. He just like stomps on the shrine, pisses on it. So yeah, it involves his dick. No, he doesn't fuck it, but he pisses on it. So then he leaves.
Well, I guess it did involve his
dick. He has a one-night stand with this one girl that kind of has a thing for him. And then he wakes up and he has horns growing out of his head the next morning. And he's like, "What the fuck?" And he kind of goes to the girl like, "Did you notice these last night?" So it's like, "What are you talking about?"
What did you have? What kind of disease do you have?
He's just like all of a sudden like a fucking like. All of a sudden, like, just like some like Narnia, the Narnia, like goat man just walks out, like, "Yeah, see you tomorrow."
He's like, "No, that's what I ended up fucking. It wasn't a horse. I thought it was a horse." They're like, at the time, Dan, you knew exactly what it was, and you convinced us all that you were not drunk whatsoever. That this was just a day-to-day routine for you, and you were really disgusted with yourself. But more disgusted with us.
Because you thought we liked it, which we didn't. You just insisted that we watch and judge us in the process.
You also made us sign this waiver that said that we were into it, and the only reason any of us signed it is because that was the only way to get you shut up.
Also, we played it good. We like most of the budget for this movie went to you, so So we
kind of had to sign it too. Our jobs are on the line here because, well, you're the kind of prima donna here, I guess. I guess we gotta put up with you. Fuck, I don't even like you. I fucking just do sound. Fuck you. I hated Harry Potter. See, I'm gonna fucking say
that fucking name to me. Don't say that fucking name.
You know what? I thought the only good one in that one was Ron. Fuck Ron. You know what? Fuck that Irish fuck.
He was. You know what he started in? Fucking butt blaster.
That is like, I almost just want to see that movie just for how
I'm not sure if we ever
stupid that is. We were in Rasputin's once, and you can continue from there.
There was like a movie. This had to be pre Harry Potter, but it was
I don't
like
think it was pre Harry Potter because it said right on the cover, it was like featuring Ron Weasley or whatever the actor's name is from Harry Potter. And
it could have been like a I want to say it may have been like a redistribution of it once like Harry Potter came out or something. Maybe
that might have been true.
Like,
if anything, it took place
as soon as like Grand Theft Auto was getting big, they started re-releasing the Ron Howard Grand Theft Auto movie. Something that had nothing to do with it, but they know it's going to sell.
Yeah, because it's got the title, and then as a kid looks at it and you go, oh fuck, they made a Grand Theft Auto movie in the '70s. Fuck, I didn't know that. Dude, they were so ahead of the time then.
Man, why isn't he killing or murdering anybody?
Why is it a comedy?
Why is it the kid from Happy Days?
Yeah, why does the fawn seem to have the reverse role in it? I'm not too sure. This is confusing.
Here's actually want to hear something kind of fucked up and kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
I remember
you didn't finish the Ron Weasley part though, the story.
Okay, yeah. Well, basically, we're walking through Rasputin's, and I want to say that we walked past this movie, and it was just like a DVD. And I want to say you pointed out, like, dude, you weren't even laughing. You were straight faced, and you're like, fucking look at this. And you hold up the DVD, and I want to say it has like some comic book font, like fart blaster or something fucking like that. And then it was like a very cartoon drawing of someone's like fucking ass with like a fucking gust of wind, like No.
There was a fat kid bent over, like smiling, looking back, and I don't think he had one of these hats with like the propeller on top of it, but it was close enough to that. Maybe no propeller. And there was just this ginormous like ash cloud coming out of the back end of it.
And in the cloud though, it was like a picture of like Ron. I don't remember the actor's actual name, but
that's not important to the story. But
the kid that played Ron, his face in the cloud, do it like just like with this confused look, like
it was like featuring the talents of Ron Weasley from the Harry Potter series.
Like it's like that look he has whenever he's like scared, whenever he's cornered, like there's a fucking spider that's gonna get us or whatever. That look he has on his face, just like in this fucking fart, this fucking like fart cloud. It's just like blaster featuring the kid from Harry Potter as Ron, that played Ron Weasley, and I was just like, oh wow.
Well, it's just like, what self-respecting parent's gonna let like their kid get that movie? That's all I have to say.
Well, that kid actually, I give that guy credit because he actually, before they did Harry Potter, before they actually went and filmed Harry Potter, the three kids like, okay, you guys got to write a essay on what you think your character's all about. The chick that played Hermione went and wrote this very well detailed like essay, Emma Watson, describing what she thought Hermione was about, and that makes sense because Hermione's a bookworm. Harry Potter, the kid that played Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe, he went and just wrote like a standard kind of essay, just bare minimum. And then the kid that played Ron Weasley didn't write a thing. Like, well, you had to write this. Why didn't you write it?
He just figured jerked off a napkin and just like threw it on the ground. Poured some whiskey on it. There you go. That's what Ron Weasley's all about.
That's we call that the Weasel, the Weasley. No, he just says, well, I figured Ron wouldn't do it, so I just didn't do it. Like, all right.
That's actually pretty sweet, though. You gotta like those kind of stories, and that's how you got like that acting job.
Yeah, so all right, that guy's all right. But no. But then like what ends up happening is, so then he wakes up with these horns, and suddenly, whenever somebody sees him, they kind of just spill whatever secrets they have, and they're not even freaked out by the horns. Like, yeah, you got horns. What's the big deal?
What?
And they just start.
My uncle's got horns. What? You think I've never seen horns before in a man?
They take, and then like if they ask him a question, and he says, yeah, like, can I do this or can I do that? And he says, yeah, sure. They'll start doing it, and it's like because he walks up, there's a girl. She's like, oh my god, like I want some donuts, but it'll make me fat. Like, okay, I don't care. She's like, can I have these donuts? Like, yeah, go ahead. I don't care. Says, can I have all of them? Like, yeah. And then she starts like just ravish, like just like very like primal, like very animal, like just shoving these donuts down her throat. And he's like, okay, that's fucking weird. And he just leaves. Later, he goes to like the doctor to get the horns removed. And the doctor's like, look, I got something I got to tell you. I really got this thing for my daughter's best friend. It's weird because she's 16. He's like,
it's weird because her best friend's a dude, but
When a man's got needs, even though I don't understand him, a man's got needs, right?
I'm a doctor. You think I could just, have better choices, but I don't know. That little boy, when he comes in the room and does his thing, just makes me get all crazy.
What's
He's
his
like,
thing?
dude,
Well-
you're like, whoa. I just want to get rid of my horns now. I know you're
That's exactly
horny,
what happens,
but
though.
I want to get rid of my horns.
That's what's happened. Is he's saying this like weird, fucked up shit. He's just like, I don't care. I got horns. Can you just get rid of these? Like, yeah, I can get rid of them. And he's like about to put him in under some anesthesia.
Anesthesia. He's like, we're gonna put on anesthesia right now.
That should help. Wasn't that what it's called? What they put you under anesthesia?
Anesthesia.
Anesthesia. Okay, my bad.
It's funny. It's like, here, I got this VHS copy of Anesthesia.
Anesthesia.
This will put you to sleep.
No, it's not Titan AE. That one will keep you up. That's a good movie.
Actually, I like Anesthesia, even though it's got that weird like Bardock guy who's like, I talk like this the whole time. I think he's supposed to actually be. I always kept thinking he was like Canadian. Like, why does he have a Canadian accent? But I think he's supposed to be like Jewish.
I would assume so, given the time and.
Like, I'm just the annoying Jewish bat that follows you.
Well, anyway, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I just pulled like a George W. Bush. Like, we got nuclear. I got nuclear, or like you know.
Fuck.
Can't even pronounce shit right. But yeah, I put him under anesthesia. And from there, he ends up having like before that happens, he's like checking out the nurse. He's like, fucking nurse is hot, right? Like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. Just
Daniel Radcliffe or the doctor?
The doctor. And then like he has like this whole flashback, and that's where we kind of get more about his past and whatnot. And then when he wakes up, the doctor and the nurse are just fucking real hard. He says, well, what are you guys doing? He's just like, we asked you if you mind we start having sex, and you didn't care really. He says like, I was under. How would I respond? I don't know. You kind of shook your head a little bit.
So is this movie like a partial comedy?
It's a partial comedy. Yeah.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
there's some very dark, violent parts, but it's like definitely it's like a little bit of like, it's definitely part comedy. That's for sure. I mean, there are some like I said, there's some heavier handed scenes in the movie, but it is like there's like too many scenes in it that like kind of, I think, single it out as a comedy in some aspects. So basically he starts just kind of going around and trying to figure out who killed his girlfriend. And because he has these horns now, so he can get the truth out of people. And he's going around, and just pretty some fucked up shit will start happening. Like, there's also just like another part where like there's like these two like real like tough like redneck these two redneck like cops. There's one part where he's all saying like one of them says the other. He says like they're all yelling at Daniel Radcliffe about like, we know you did it. We're gonna be on you. We'll be on you all night. It's like one of them says the other, I love when you talk that way. He's like, yeah, I like it when I talk that way too. He's like, I jerk off thinking about your mouth. Says that like, what the fuck? So the movie has a lot of weird fucked up comedy to it, but it's really good. And then at some point, he just walks by. He's like, why don't you guys just kind of let go? Because they're like blocking his way to get to like this one house that's under protection. He's like, I'll tell you what. Why don't you guys just go ahead and start blowing each other? He's like, wait, are we allowed to do that? Like, yeah, you are. No problem. Like, okay. And they just start fucking around. He just walks right past them.
It almost sounds like it is more of a comedy with like some dark horror stuff in it.
I mean, there is some definite like really dramatic scenes and scenes that are pretty fucked up, but there's like when you got scenes like that, I don't know how you can't put it under comedy. It's kind of like In Bruges. Like In Bruges is one of those movies. I know I always talk about how much I love that movie, but as dark and as like depressing as it can be in parts, the parts that are funny are so damn funny. I don't know how you can't like put that under a comedy.
Yeah, it's like, even though I want to say, because In Bruges is a perfect example of like a movie that's like, there's so much really funny stuff in it, but then they also like mix in so much heavy drama too. It's got this weird, strange balance you don't normally see, where you could put in your drama section and it'd be totally fine there, or you could put in your comedy section and be totally fine there.
But it pulls it off, because sometimes it could seem like this is off balance or doesn't fit right, but that one it totally pulls it off.
No, In Bruges is like pure perfect practically.
Mm-hmm. I gotta watch this movie again. I've only watched it once, but it was pretty good. I don't know if I wouldn't say it's In Bruges good, but it's definitely really good and worth checking out. This movie apparently came out 2 years ago. It was just hard to get a hold of.
Oh, it's amazing how like, a movie can kind of come out and totally go by you and not even see it. Or I mean, that title sounds kind of familiar, but I didn't know anything about it till right now. And so sometimes that just happens, and you know, you get these lost gem movies that are fantastic that nobody fucking talked about. So, that sounds badass.
So check that one out when you can.
You know, they had a sale on Comixology, and this is like probably a comic that I probably would not have bought, but it was like $5, and it was the Harley Quinn New 52 like trade paperback one, well, except it was in digital form. So it was like
Digital, I know what you mean.
It was like nine.
So many dumb people you could like trick with that. Just be like, yeah, it's digital comic, but it's the trade paperback print of the digital comic. Yeah. It's the hardcover print, so it's just a little bit more expensive. Wait, the hard. Let me roll this around in my head for a minute. The hardcover print. It says it's on sale. Fuck it, I'll get it. All right.
Hardcover digital. Yeah, I know it's confusing, but yeah, you got it. But so it was $5 for 9 issues, and I was like, $5 for 9 issues. You can't beat that. And then it had like a bunch of like, I saw in the guest drawings. I mean, there was like Bruce Timm, and yeah, you had to have Bruce Timm with like.
You can't really do like a big like Harley Quinn thing without, even though it's created by Paul Dini, Bruce Timm did all the original drawings, I believe. So yeah.
Yeah, I think like the very first drawing might have been Paul Dini, like a sketch and like a napkin or something like that. But then the rest of it's molded into Bruce Timm's look. But it had a bunch of other people on there too. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'll check it out. And then I've read about half of it so far, and it kind of reminds me like they're trying to do like almost like a female Deadpool, if that makes any sense. Like, not nearly as extreme as Deadpool, but it's a book that's like, again, you're sort of watching like or you're reading a comedy, I guess. That's kind of what it is. I like how I'm confused. Like, I'm not too sure what I'm supposed to know.
Is it more R-rated or PG-13?
It's still like PG-13. I don't know. The weird thing is like DC was doing really good. Like, I mean, like their stories are very serious. But I noticed that, like, when they want to do something sort of, like, goofy, they can't really go nearly as far. I don't know why that is exactly. You know what I mean?
They got their, like, kids shows for that, like Teen Titan Go or whatever.
No, but yeah, but
the actual print.
I'm talking about, like, if Teen Titan Go was fucking rated, like, mature or R. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, like how Deadpool is. You know, Deadpool, he can be around all these other Marvel characters that are all made for, like, about a PG-13 audience. Yet Deadpool lives in his rated R world.
Yeah.
So you would almost think the Harley Quinn one would be rated R.
Just for hanging out with Joker all the time.
Yeah. I mean, like, it still has, like, a lot of stuff, but you'd almost just feel like there'd just be, maybe that'd be the time where you could throw a little bit more swearing in. I mean, it's still got blood and violence and all kinds of stuff like that. But, I mean, I think it's rated 15+. Like, comics have kind of weird, like, ratings, but...
One I can see them possibly doing, because right now there's this big resurgence of, like... girl power in comic books right now. And I think that's actually a good thing right there. I think there needs to be more stronger female characters. And I'm not really sure, even though I like Harley Quinn, I think she's a good character. I don't know if she's a really good, and I'm not trying to be like socially responsible with comics, but I don't really think she's that strong of a like role model character. She is, I think a good way to go about her would be like a female Deadpool. I think that makes sense. But I think if you're not going to go R with it, then I think that defeats a little bit of the purpose, because Deadpool is so unreserved and so just kind of like whatever, there's no like holds bars with Deadpool. So I think that, and one reason they're probably making her PG-13, if I had to guess, is that that's a character that a lot of girls do like, and they kind of want to try and get more like teenage girls to like that character. But at the same time, so they're trying to keep it within the PG-13 range. But at the same time, though, it's not really, even though I think she's a good character, I don't think she's a good character. She's not a very strong character, though, because she's willing to do anything and everything for Joker, for her man, who is a fucking piece of shit. I love
literally like the worst fucking boyfriend you could have.
He is the worst boyfriend. He's willing to kill her, shoot her, throw her out of a moving van, and then she's back with him. Like, she might hit him with a hammer, kick the shit out of him. But then, like, she's back with him like a month later. So, I mean, do I think she's a good character? Yeah. Do I think she's a strong character? No, because
not necessarily.
It's more of like, what makes her good is she's visually interesting and she's funny. That's what's likable about her.
She's crazy.
She's crazy. Yeah. I think it kind of comes with a little bit of the funny part of her too. So I think that's what's appealing about that character. Now, I think that if you're trying to make her kind of deeper, I mean, you could do that, but I don't really think there is any real like Wonder Woman's a strong character. Huntress is a strong character. Black Canary's a strong character. Harley Quinn, good character, not a strong one though. So
Well,
I think, but they're going to try and sell whatever they can, and I get it because I think anything that has anything that can segue from Batman to Joker, they know they can sell. And I think that okay, well, this is kind of like the girl Joker, so let's do it for that.
Yeah, and it's not like I'm not saying it's like a bad comic. It's enjoyable. This one is written by like a female writer and all kinds of stuff, so it's kind of towards that girl power movement. Still drawn by a man, don't know. But other than that, though, it's like pretty much it's Harley Quinn. The Joker kicked her out at some point or another. Once again, it will all come around at some point. Mm-hmm. So she was living in a fucking storage unit, and then the Joker put a bomb in there and blew it all up. So then, like whatever shit she had left, she strapped it all on this motorcycle and was like driving down the road. And she's got this beaver that's a stuffed beaver that she talks to, but this beaver's face is now like half burnt off and kind of like mangled and destroyed from just weather and explosions and all the shit that happens to it. But she just keeps, but she has like, the beavers almost reminds you like the voices in like Deadpool's head. Because these voices are in her head, obviously, but she thinks the beaver talks to her.
Oh, okay.
I mean, even Poison Ivy comes over for one episode or for one issue, and she's just kind of like, why the fuck are you talking to this beaver? Like,
well, they did have for a little while the Gotham Sirens, which I don't know if that series is still going on, but it was basically it was Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and Harley Quinn. And I don't know if I had to assume it was just kind of like these three girls pulling off heists or presenting them as anti-heroes as opposed to villains.
Well, I noticed it once because Poison Ivy is technically another one of those kind of character who's not actually a bad person. She might just be a little extremist. That's really probably the thing. 'Cause she's really not doing anything wrong. Her whole concept is just let's go back to Earth, but by any means necessary. Not really like talking it out, just saying like fuck it, let's just kill everybody so we can go back to Earth. So she really is looking in the right direction when you really get down to it. Not a bad person. It's almost like one of those ones like if you think Poison Ivy's like a bad character, you might be a Republican. by that knowledge, because you're just like fuck Earth, I hate it. Kill Poison Ivy. You know what she's representing? She's like a hippie. But So Harley Quinn's got this like beaver she talks to, and then somehow, some way, she inherited this kind of hotel-like apartment building, and it's got a bunch of like circus carnival like tenants in there. So she's got to collect money from them, and then she's also got to get jobs along the way too. So she's somehow, some way, she got a nice psychiatrist job at like an old person's home. But it's all these like almost like misadventures. That's really what it is. It's not like it doesn't feel like a superhero comic. It just feels kind of like she goes through like these comedy. And then a little bit of misadventures, and then she has guest stars like Poison Ivy and stuff come in. And then these tenants here are all kind of like circus people. Like one guy's like a midget with like long hair, looks kind of like a heavy metal guy, but who's like 4 foot tall. And then a bunch of other people and whatnot. But it does. This is the thing. I feel like they draw it like in kind of like a little bit more serious looking drawings. But I think that for being a comedy, it should almost have a little bit more of a cartoonier look to it. It should almost look more like a Bruce Timm style. I think that would come across more because she'll say these kind of goofy things, but she's got such like a seriously drawn, like feminine look going, like almost like she's posing that it doesn't feel nearly as funny, if you know what I mean.
No, I get
she almost almost needs to be a little bit more over the top, almost like it's maybe slightly has some anime over the topness to it. I think that would work fine here.
I have to check this one out. I don't know if I want to like.
As I said,
the series.
It's $5.90, or it's $5 or $5.99. It's probably still on Comixology. I only bought it a couple days ago, or maybe I bought a little bit more than that. Maybe about like 6 days ago.
But I want to check it out. But...
It's interesting. It's one of those ones like I'll say it's for that price. It's totally worth it just to like read something different. If anything, that's what it is. It doesn't feel like you're reading a regular superhero one. It's somehow, some way they haven't like crowbarred Batman in there like in every issue. So. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but also it's kind of nice just to see this Harley Quinn just doing her own thing, pretty separate from everybody else.
Joker found his way in there a whole lot?
He hasn't been in it yet. I mean, as I said, I'm probably only like 4 issues into it, so I'm like halfway through the book, but...
I'm working down my stack. I just got done reading Gerard Way's True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys. Just got done reading that one a little bit ago.
Oh, nice.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I like
that. Was pretty good. It felt a little rushed. It wasn't as good as Umbrella Academy. Umbrella Academy was a course over 2 books. This one, it all kind of like wraps up pretty quickly at the end, but it is good. It is worth reading. And that album, the Killjoys,
Mhm.
That one actually, right? Is that what the album? Oh, Danger Days. That's what it is. Danger Days.
Yeah, the Fabulous
That-
Life of the Killjoys. I think that's the whole title of it.
Yeah, but like, there's definitely. I got to listen to that album again, but there's definitely like references to that album throughout this. Dr. Death Defy, which is like the radio broadcaster that comes in parts of that album. He is a character within this, and they make a bunch of nods to songs throughout it. So it's almost kind of like a concept album that maybe tells the story of this particular book. So I got to listen to it again though, but there were things definitely stuck out. So yeah, it's a good book. It's worth reading. I didn't like it as much as Umbrella Academy, but it was definitely a good read. I got this just ridiculously large stack right now. It's becoming a problem. It's very much becoming a problem. I can't buy any books until I just finish this stack. And right now I'm reading Jeff Loeb's run on Hulk from I think 2005 or 2006 maybe. No, it wasn't 2005. It was like had to be like 2007 or 2008. It was right around when they used to doing the Red Hulk stuff. I'm reading that, and then I'm also reading Swamp Thing, the current New 52 Swamp Thing.
Yeah, I know exactly how you are, because like that's I always say too. It's like before you buy the next comic, finish these ones that are sitting here, and then next thing you know, I see like a sale. Perfect example, like Comixology. Like I just bought about 4 full books on there because I bought a couple Superman ones because they had a sale on Superman. They're all $5 a piece or $5.99 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I got All Star Superman because I wanted to read that one again, and then I got the what I got. It was a Jim Lee Superman one, but it was 12 issues. I was trying to get the biggest bang for my buck. I looked at one.
I so almost grabbed Superman Unchained by Scott Snyder and Jim Lee, but I just like
it wasn't that one. It wasn't that one. It was an older Jim Lee one.
Oh, For Tomorrow.
Is that the one where he's standing up like on the building like fucking?
You gotta narrow it down. You gotta fucking.
He's standing up like Captain Morgan style. You always see the posters for it. It looks like the Batman poster you have, but it's the Superman version of it.
I believe it's that one. I want to say it's that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got that one, and then another one I picked up is they had another sale, and I picked up a Red Sonja one, and that's actually the one I got. At least I really like that a lot. I'm only a couple issues into it, but that's a really sweet story. I'm really starting to get those Dynamite comics. I'm actually really impressed with those.
I actually, a little bit ago, when I first moved here, I got Kevin Smith's run on his Green Hornet movie adaptation from Dynamite Comics, and that was pretty good. I don't know if that was just a simple little, all right, Kevin Smith's like Green Hornet, or if they use that as a starting point to, because I know Green Hornet is still coming out. I don't know if they use Kevin Smith's as a starting point, or if that's its own separate little kind of like, oh, here's his script for that movie that never got made, but yeah.
Yeah, for some reason I think that's what it is. I think it's a script thing, but I don't know. It's just like
it'd be cool if they actually use that as the starting point, because I know Kato is a girl currently in Green. Well, last time I saw some promotional art for it, Kato is still a girl. So yeah.
But it's like the kind of cool thing about Dynamite is they got everything in their mostly collection is mostly older stories, comics, movies, whatever they are. And I like how they just kind of continue these things, but they do just a great, like the ones I've just been reading so far, it's just like the writing's really good, the art's top notch.
They got a Man with No Name one I was considering about getting one time.
Oh, do they really?
There's a Man with No Name that Dynamite has. I think it might be IDW, but I want to say Dynamite has a Man with No Name to bring it back around to that.
But yeah, it's just like after reading like the Zorro and the Red Sonja and a couple other just like miscellaneous issues, it's like now I kind of want to go out and like just check out the John Carter ones. I think those might be kind of cool. They got fucking Flash Gordon, and then maybe not. I don't think they have. Do they have Buck Rogers in that series? I'm not too sure. I could be wrong.
I don't know if they have Buck Rogers. They got the thing. What's interesting about Dynamite is they have a lot of like characters that people just forgot about, and they just kind of like. So they have Lone Ranger. They have John Carter, Zorro, and they're trying to like these
Red
characters.
Sonja.
Here's a quick question regarding Red Sonja. Marvel originally did the comics for that. Is Red Sonja just kind of like a Conan-based character, or is that like, was she her own character from? Because I know that I want to say the comics came first, or was she like was she originally?
I want
Marvel?
to say books came first. She's like a spin-off of the Conan universe. Mm-hmm. So I want to say they really came because Conan came from like novels, then it turned into comics, and then we kind of somehow, some way, just know it as comics nowadays. Even though they still write tons of Conan books, and I think Red Sonja ones. But I think Red Sonja kind of went more into the comics, so that's what we always kind of think of her as, that in the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Yeah.
That people don't seem to like, but I actually think that's a really good... I think it's one of I like it more than Conan Destroyer, and I like Conan Destroyer as well, but...
Isn't Conan... Didn't the guys on Arnold Radio News, didn't they actually say, or Arnold News Radio, didn't they actually say that he's actually filming another Conan right now?
He's not filming it yet, but he's in the works for King Conan.
Oh, he's in the works of it. Okay.
So, like, you know, they're just kind of in the pre-production parts of that. But hopefully after Terminator's all said and done, you know, there might be some little movie in between, but then I think King Conan's supposed to be the next movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be badass. Like, it's one of those ones, that's like the smartest thing, too, is just Arnold Schwarzenegger's coming back to these movie series that, like, didn't get a, you know, like, I like Terminator Salvation. I still enjoyed that one. And I like that Conan, like, the new one they had come out, like, with the guy who was in Bullet to the Head.
Uh-huh.
Like, the bad guy from that was Conan. And I thought those are both really good movies, but I do kind of agree that it is that thing that you know how those movies
It's
really
hard to go
sell
back.
well?
It's hard to go back.
Put Arnold back in them, and that's what people want.
Mm-hmm.
So, but no, I kid you not. If you ever get a chance, just check out some of that Red Sonja. It's really, it's just really fucking awesome. And then the Django one, the Django / Zorro, pick up those issues. They're fucking badass. And the upside to them is this: if you buy the single issues, there's no ads in them except for ads for other comics of Dynamite towards the end. I think in the dead center there might be like a 2-page ad of like, you know, get John Carter, it's awesome. And then you keep reading the story, and then at the very end they just kind of, you know, here's Red Sonja, here's Green Hornet, here's Zorro, blah 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 blah. So it's like the only thing they're hawking to you is their own fucking comics, and that's totally fine to me.
Rather than like bubble tape or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Not like fucking bubble tape. Now back to the story where, you know, Green Lantern's like arm gets chopped off.
In front of his girlfriend while she weeps. Yeah.
So
here's an ad for some Teen Titan toys while like Tim Drake mourns over the body of his dead father. You know.
Yeah. So it's like one of those ones. At least the Dynamite ones. The cool thing about them is they just feel like, no matter what, DC and Marvel always feels like they're always geared towards older people, and I feel like most of these stuff is. But every once in a while, you kind of get some books where they feel like, okay, make this just feel a little bit like teenage friendly. We got a high demographic there. Where I notice these Dynamite ones go, you know who's reading these books? Old people. Just let's stick to that. We don't need to dumb it down for anybody. We don't need to kind of have the relatable, like, you know, teenage character. These are just adults. That's who it is. Get used to life.
I think that's actually a pretty good way to go about it. I mean, because I feel like, well, I mean, I think Marvel and DC, well, I don't really know that I'm thinking about it. Marvel and DC, they got characters that gotta be like morphed and formed for whatever generation. So you could at the same time could have like the kid-friendly version of Spider-Man and then have the Scott Snyder Spider-Man. And then, but something like, I think Dynamite's a little bit of a trickier position because all they're going off of, I'm going to assume, because most people I know don't even read Dynamite. So
no, I never talked to anybody.
Clearly they're doing good enough to keep on coming out with these books. So I'm going to assume most people reading Dynamite are probably people in their late 20s to late 20s and up. So, and most of them are kind of like old characters from like old radio dramas and television series that are just being kind of like remapped and reformed into being more like, I'm not sure if they're being cooler and hipper, but more of just kind of holding on to like kind of writing nostalgia, but still kind of like presenting it as something new to some aspect.
Well, I think what they're kind of doing is they take something that's classic and they go, you remember this, how cool it was? And then you go like, and then when you kind of look back on it, yeah, when you look back on it, it's a little bit cheesy. I mean, you still enjoy it and you still remember why you like it, but like, what if we took that and just made it really fucking badass? Like, I mean, just make it as cool as you possibly can. Like, think of it like, you know, how you would write it, how you think of that character. This, you know, let's make it kind of for an adult audience. And so far, I'm actually really impressed. I want to go out and check out more of the stuff that they have to offer because
I want to check out.
It's kind of nice. It's nice to kind of break up the superhero-ness too. I do like that. Now, don't get me wrong. You know, Batman's my all-time favorite, and all his buddies, and so on. But
most of these characters still are superheroes. They're just more of an old school kind of superhero. Just more of a, I guess, yeah, almost proto superhero because you still got Green Hornet's a superhero. Lone Ranger might as well be a superhero with the mask.
Zorro's pretty much a superhero.
He was one of the inspirations for Batman. So
I guess Django's a superhero.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, Red Sonja, I guess, is also. I mean, like. Any hero, I guess, has like the same qualities, sort of, you know. But there is a different feel to it. I don't know. I'm just impressed. That's all I have to say.
I guess I can call myself a superhero fan, but no, honestly, it's not so much the aspects of like, okay, what do I like about them? They wear bright colors and they fight crime. It's not really that. I think for me personally, I think this is one of the reasons why superhero stuff does good right now. I think ultimately when you're a kid, you see a visually interesting character that captures your imagination, and you like whatever that character does. You like the gimmick of that character. This guy has a thing for bats. This guy has a thing for speed. This guy dresses like a bug and swings from buildings. And then I think they bank on like this is just me guessing the way I think how they work. Later down the line, they find that same thing, that they present that same character just a different way to you, in a way that's kind of like, okay, I mean, it's still like what you recognize as a kid, but it's not really, but it's more adult. 'Cause one of those things about it is most of the comics I like and read, it's not really kind of like, oh, I like superhero stuff, I just happen to like these characters. It's not really, if someone says, oh, it's a new superhero book, that does not really intrigue me. It's more of just the concept. I guess just because I know these characters. It's more of like these characters I've known since I was a kid, and just seeing more of like grown-up versions, more like adult versions of them, as opposed to like the more kiddie versions you kind of grew up with, like Super Friends or whatever the fuck,
Well, I think this is how it is. You watch it as a kid, and you like them because they got cool powers, they look cool, they got cool toys and gadgets and so on. And then as you grow up, it's almost like you get to dive into the comics, which the nice thing with the comics is they've grown up too. They'll like go with their audience.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you get these deep stories and whatnot. And that's something that like I always kind of feel if like video games, I hopefully hope will start, there's a lot of series and video games that obviously did it. I mean, Metal Gear did it, Castlevania did it, so on. Ninja Gaiden did it. But it'd be nice to see, I mean, I know this sounds weird, but like concepts sort of like Pokemon and Mario even and stuff, just like
that's why
if they just grow and not like everyone's got to be like it, but if they just did like a little bit where we had a Mario game but make it just a little bit more serious. And I don't mean
a little bit more Zelda-ish maybe.
Maybe just enough that like you could go like, hey, we know that a lot of our audience is pushing 50 plus. Let's make a game for those people between 20 and 60. Let's not try to make a game that's, for the whole family exactly, that we have it safe enough. I mean, and I don't mean that like in like some weird, like making it kind of like turn into like a Grand Theft Auto or something like that. But just, perfect examples like
Mario just stomping on Goombas, like bite the curb, just smash.
Just like Mario meets Duke Nukem or something like that. No. I mean, more like, because perfect example is Twilight Princess for Zelda. That was, and then Hyrule Warriors. Hyrule Warriors is the other one. Those are the two that feels like this is what Zelda feels like for an adult. And I'm not going to say anything against like any of the other Zelda games because, it's like Wind Waker, when that first came out, the one thing that really bothered me about that game, and I think this is like, because I was the age where like these video games, you had so much like fandom put into it that, you fucking like would stand up. If Nintendo came to America and slapped down a flag and said, who's on our side? We're taking over America by force. All of us kids would be over there in a second, like fucking grabbing guns and shit and being like, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but that's like how much we really like Nintendo and so on. But the worst part is when you have to go to school and you have to face those Xbox and PlayStation fans, and then like you want to we want Nintendo to be like, yeah, man, we got this fucking ballsy ass game, you fucking like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Well, guess what's coming next? And you're like, yeah, fucking A, right. Look at that Link battling Ganondorf. It's gonna be so badass. And then they pull a Wind Waker on you. You're just like. Fuck.
Yeah, it was.
You almost just want to go to Nintendo, like, dude, what the fuck? I gotta go talk to kids that are playing fucking Halo and Grand Theft Auto. How the fuck do you expect me to bring this there? I'm at that age where it's fucking 7th and 8th grade. Just they won't be able to handle it, man. Maybe when I'm fucking 24 or something like that, it'll be fine, but not yet, man. And it was the same thing, kind of
just like you're saying, like Nintendo was for a little while. Those kind of guys, like almost that friend, like. All right, we're gonna go talk to our friends like Xbox and Sony. Don't. You're my friend, man. Don't say anything fucking stupid. Just be cool, all right? And they were like, hey, man, there's a lot of like cool like shoot 'em up games coming out. Like, yeah, have you guys played the new Pokemon? Shut the fuck up, dude. Just keep that shit on the down.
Why is Jimmy here? I don't know. He brings us pretzels. That's why I allow him to hang out with us.
Just like you turn around, like, no, it's fine. Like turn around and like, dude, what the fuck? You're fucking this up for us, man. Just chill the fuck out. I said be cool. Like Wind Waker. Like, oh god damn it,
And and as well as the fun thing is when you get older, you can be that guy who goes like, what are you looking most forward to? Fucking new Zelda, new Mario, and new Sonic. That's what I care more about. Like, there's these kind of cool like first-person shooter mature games, but I could care less because what I want just sweet Nintendo games. But there's that
Going back to that real
7th
quick.
and 8th grade age though that's when like
I'll say even seventh. I would say beyond 7th and 8th. I'd say probably like 7th to
early
like,
high school.
probably like junior year of high school, because there
Yeah,
was
junior,
still that
senior year.
period. There still was that point where you would have like elitist or whatever, like, oh, you like Nintendo, I'm all about Xbox and whatever. You would still get that bullshit, and that's when like Nintendo would put out with something like Wind Waker, which looking back now, that's a good game. But at the moment,
it's an amazing game.
But looking back, like, what the fuck are you doing, man? What you're making me look bad, you know?
Well, it was almost like as a kid, you just wanted to go over and like fucking write a letter to Shigeru Miyamoto, be like, yo, I've been working my ass off trying to prove how badass Nintendo is. Fucking, you got Resident Evil on there now. That's fucking amazing on the GameCube. We had Star Wars Rogue Squadron. But then, I had this whole Zelda thing built up. There was a Ganondorf fucking fighting Link trailer. It looked badass. And then you pull this Wind Waker thing on me. You fucking blew my plan, man. Fucking, I've been working this case for years.
And then, like, he sends you back a letter. It's just a few sentences written in Japanese. You go out of your way to find the one person in Tuolumne County who can speak Japanese. It says, thanks for the $60. Fuck you.
Well, guess what? I got him on that. I didn't spend $60 on the Wind Waker.
I bought it used,
I didn't even get it for GameCube. That's how much of like it was just like, no, fuck you. I'm not buying that. I pre-ordered the Wind Waker just so I could get the Ocarina of Time Master Quest edition. I never even picked up the Wind Waker because it was just like, who cares? I paid $5 for Ocarina of Time. That's all I want. Master Quest was there. And it was just like, this is my Zelda. I don't want to be fucking like, don't give me that fucking cartoon shaded one. And then, in the long run,
they just have like this Raiders of the Lost Ark, contain like warehouse filled with like Wind Wakers that people pre-ordered but never picked up.
I know, exactly. Well, Shigeru Miyamoto was actually really surprised, like, when the people like flipped the fuck out when they saw the Wind Waker thing, and just
how can you not expect them to flip the fuck out when you show?
Well, yeah,
when you show them like, here's fucking man Zelda. Then all of a sudden you jump in, it's just like, oh yeah, here's a cartoony Saturday morning Zelda. I mean, going back, that is a fantastic game, but in the heat of the moment though, it was like, what the fuck is this?
No, it's just one of those things. It's just like, yeah, it really is. And as I said, I'd probably say it's in there. Maybe not my top 5 favorite Zeldas, but I like it a lot. I mean, if it's not top 5, it's number 6, on the list.
It's a good one. It's a damn good.
It's a damn good game, and the cool thing about it, it's one of those Zeldas that does something really different. It's not the same old story. It's something totally new. I mean, it's got all the similar things as Zelda, but you're in a boat, you're fucking on the ocean, it's got different graphics, and so on. And then once you get into it, it's like, it's not really different than any other Zelda. It's just got the graphics. But there is that thing, you want a man Zelda now, you want man Link, I've seen enough Boy Link in my time. My Boy Link was fine when in the fucking 80s, but now we need man Link,
That's what we got to talk about. That's why we talked about like a good like few months ago, like the Unforgiven Zelda game. I would like to see that by this point.
Yeah, make Link fucking even older. Don't make him like 17. Make him fucking 47. I don't know. That's what I want to see.
And by this point, Ganondorf is like being reincarnated. Because that's what happens. They die. They get reincarnated. By this point, rather than kind of like a young Link versus an old tiny Ganondorf, it's an old Link and a like young snobby Ganondorf who's just starting his regime.
Yeah, and Link's already done this before, We don't even know exactly. The story never explains how many times he's done this, but you just know he's like war torn a bit from all this like carnage he's been through. But that's all I'm asking for. It's just something like that, But at the same time, fuck it. I'll tell you this: the number one games I most always look forward to are Zeldas. I just picked up the new Majora's Mask, and it's fucking badass. They did such a good job on the remake. You can fucking save, and you don't have to have the stupid temporary saves.
That's on my list right there. I still got some other stuff I got to beat first, but that Majora's Mask, I still got to beat Ocarina of Time for 3DS before I go and get that one, just by principle.
Plus, even though you played the Ocarina of Time once, you already kind of know, but like just
I know, but at the same time, I don't
mean like that, but like, and the Majora's Mask when they do kind of the same thing too, where it's pretty much almost like you're getting like the HD remake, where the graphics are just that much sharper. The polygons are all smoothed out. You can see fucking for distance. There's no fog. It's just so badass.
I never finished Majora's Mask just because of that time factor to it. But at some point, I'll get this, and I will.
It's not. It was never the time that bothered me. It was always the saving.
That's what I mean. Like the time, you'd have to save, and then you restart like a day earlier or something to that, or you can only save once. It was some half-ass thing like that.
In the old one, you could only save when you went back in time, but they had these owls along the way that you could save at, but they were temporary saves. So when you went to save them, it restarted the game, and then when you started the game back up again, it erased the file. So it was just fucking stupid.
Yeah, that pissed me off. That's one of the things that I would hate, just having to do all that, get that far, and then having something as dumb as the power go out, you know?
Well, I had that game freeze on me twice, like when I spent like 3 fucking hours working on shit, and that's kind of what killed the game for me. It's like I really love the game, but it was just the saving issues. And the perfect thing is this Majora's Mask, it fixes that. I mean, if that was literally the only thing they did in the entire game, I would say it's worth $40 just because of that. That saving alone is it. But to top it off, fucking graphics look sweet in it.
Save it like you can save this one like a normal Zelda game. You don't have
not like a normal Zelda. You got to still go to the owls. The owls are like save points, so you always got to still.
They're not temporary saves though, right?
No, they're now just regular saves, and the game doesn't save. The game doesn't save when you go back in time. That's the only other thing, but that's not a big deal because you got all the owls everywhere. But and then it's like Ocarina of Time. One of the other cool things too is I loved how you could put like the boots and like masks and stuff like to a quick select, so you weren't going like and then put the boots on, take the boots off, put the boots on, take the boots off. Mm-hmm. Where you could just flip on the touchpad. So it's badass. I haven't put too much time in. I've really only put about like 3 or 4 hours into it so far, but pretty much just got past the crappy part where you're stuck as the Deku shrub for like the first hour of the game or so. Mm-hmm. Mostly all Zeldas always kind of have like the crap part where you just gotta kind of get through it. It's kind of like an Ocarina of Time. When the game really starts to pick up, it's the second you get out of like I almost said Sherwood Forest, but
the Kariko Village.
Yeah, Kariko Village. Like once you get out of there.
Though I wish that even though I know you're Link and you're supposed to be like pure of heart or whatever the bullshit fuck, but I really do wish they would give you just a little bit more option, because there's that one dick who's like, I'm the leader of the village, and when you ever try and get past, he's putting his hand out like in front of you, like he's doing that weird squat thing, blocking you however to get in there.
Like he's like a fucking goalie or something for like hockey.
Yeah, and he always just gives you shit, don't you? And like, but then you kind of go back as an adult. And he goes like, man, what happened to that one guy? I feel really bad. And you're supposed to like maybe at that point kind of like empathize, like feel a little bad that he feels bad. But don't you just don't just wish the game gave you like an option like knock him the fuck out or like hit him in the balls, hit him in the side of the head with a rock,
fuck you, I can go out. Well, it's kind of weird. Like the weird thing about Majora's Mask is like they have like this one makes a little bit more sense because it's like an adult guard stand there. Like, yo, you can't just fucking go out there. You know what I mean? It's dangerous out there. And then you show up with like a sword and shield. Like, oh, you got a sword? Well, fuck, go, be my guest. That kid's got a weapon. He's gonna go far in this world.
Or what if it's not even that? What if it's just kind of like, it's like, oh shit, yeah, go on ahead, kid. I don't want any trouble. It's like, Frank, what the fuck are you doing? That kid had a fucking sword and shield. I'm not fucking with that. Like, you got a sword and shield too. You're a full-grown adult. Like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. Frank, what the fuck happens when we get invaded? What are you gonna do? That was a kid. You just let him go by because you were scared. What if a fucking 8-foot-tall monster comes stand next to you with a spear?
Now you mention that, I don't know how the fuck I got this job. Wow.
Oh fuck! Well, I did not think that's what the job entailed. I thought I was like a Walmart greeter. Literally, that's literally what I thought I was signing up for. Like, I thought I was what the fuck's this town called? It's not Hyrule. It's Clocktown. Clocktown, fucking like, yeah, that's what it is. Fucking
Clocktown, USA.
Clocktown, USA, fucking guard or like greeter. I thought the spear they gave me or whatever, I thought that was a prop. You know what I mean? Like I was using to scratch my back. Fuck, I didn't know.
Yeah,
I also thought it was, it's kind of like a leaning thing, because I get tired quickly and easy. My feet are kind of weak. I had a desk job before this.
That was the perk of it, It's like we're still in like we're still like in the 1600s here, so like minimum wage is like a cent,
Yeah, so I mean, fuck. I mean, still
that kid, just 1 rupee, all right, 1 rupee.
I mean, that kid wasn't wearing pants. He was fucking serious.
Yeah, kid walks by wearing no pants but has like a sword. You don't fuck with him. You let him do what he wants. He's gonna go somewhere in life.
Because that's a ballsy motherfucker to not wear pants out there in the world. It is dangerous. There's fucking mountains and swamps and
he then looks around. He then looks around. He realizes he's been talking to himself for the last 5 minutes. The other guy just walked away like in mid-sentence.
Fuck you, Frank.
What happened again? Fuck.
I can't wait till this moon fucking hits the earth. I don't have to deal with your shit anymore, Frank. Fucking letting little kids go by. You have one fucking job. One fucking job.
There's like there is like one thing that actually is really kind of like I remember there was that one of those things like there was one of those things that really stuck out with me in that game, and like you kind of go sometimes you go and just walk all past the townsfolk, and you might, because I don't remember all the little stories going on, but there's one where there's a little girl who's really excited, like the moon's happening, my mommy's gonna let me have this special drink that they says I'm too old I'm too young to drink, but since the moon's coming down, it's a big celebration, I can have it. And then like implying like, oh, she's gonna let her kid get fucked up so she's not scared when the moon's gonna come and just destroy everything. So it's just like, oh,
so she doesn't feel the pain.
Yeah, so it's just like, oh wow, that's pretty fucked up. It's pretty dark,
I know that game there's a lot of like characters that are like really depressed in that game too. It's
makes sense. You got this
giant moon that's just looking at you every day, and God knows how many days that moon's been there before. Link came in the last 3 days. That moon's probably been fucking looking at him for the last like 10 years, getting closer and closer each day.
No, that moon.
Even though I know the moon actually is kind of, I think there's the Majora or the fucking. The kid is still the Majora's Mask. I think he's part of the reason why the moon's coming down, if I remember correctly. Right? That's what happens, isn't it? But whatever.
Isn't it just some fake mechanical moon operated by like Majora or like some dark spirit, something like that?
Yeah, I think it has something to do with dark spirits. I don't know I can't remember if it's mechanical. I don't think that was it.
I thought it was actually like a machine or something. Maybe it's not, but yeah.
It is. I don't know. As I said, I didn't beat Majora's Mask 2, but just because that saving thing just got to me and it kind of like killjoyed that game. So I was like, I don't know. So, but it's a game I've always just been like, I gotta go back and beat. I gotta beat Majora's Mask. And then I got to the point I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna wait till they re-release it on 3DS or something. And lo and behold, they finally did. And that's why I was so excited to hear that news, because I was like, God damn it, that's what I've been waiting for a long time. But yeah, you know what I'd like to actually see them do is this would be kind of cool is if they did, since they did like the Wind Waker HD kind of re-release. If they did like another one where it's like maybe a combo pack, I can't imagine Nintendo doing the combo pack, but they do have Metroid Prime Hunter, so why not? Is do an HD kind of re-release of Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, because those games
I could see them doing something like that.
Those games, it'd be just to make the graphics just that much kind of crystal clear, because you don't need to do much, but once you start seeing the Wind Waker version, which looks super nice, and then of course this Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask, it's just like, well, might as well. It's an extra buck for Nintendo they can make.
And when you realize you got no games coming out, what are you going to do? Another remaster.
Well, we got the new Zelda to look forward to, but, at some point, I think that'd be just a sweet thing.
But I'm saying for their dry spells. Because what PlayStation 4, they didn't have anything coming out for a while, so they do a remaster of Last of Us.
It's like, oh, okay, well, that's cool, but...
It was good for me, because I wanted to get Last of Us.
Yeah, but can we get like a PS4 game? But, well, that's probably a good place to leave off at. Make sure to check out oldmanorange.com. Leave us some reviews on iTunes or Stitcher or some of those other sites we're on. Podomatic if you actually have an account on there.
We's on the Facebook if you give a shit to check that out.
Yeah, it's Facebook / Old Man Orange. Just Old Man Orange, right?
Yeah. Follow me at Dunigan Ryan on Twitter.
Yeah, you can follow me at Spencer S. Holmes. And until then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
We'll see you some other time.
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, videos, music, and more. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. And if you want to help out even more, click on the Amazon or GameStop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. It won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks again, and tune in next week for more Old Man Orange Podcast.